year on Sukkkos, right in the middle of the holiday, there's this bizarre, unexpected gut punch. It's called Hoshana Rabbah, not that well-known a holiday. It's the last day of Chol Hamoed, the last day of the intermediate days. The sages tell us that the judgment for the new year was inscribed on Rosh Hoshana and then sealed on Yom Kippur. But when it was sealed up in heaven, God wrote it with slow-drying ink. The ink hasn't yet fully dried until the end of Hoshana Rabbah. So it's our last chance in the year to ask God for a good upcoming year. But I thought I did that already. I went through all that judgment stuff on Rosh Hoshana and on Yom Kippur. I just want to go ride roller coasters today on the intermediate day of Sukkkos. Now I have to go through judgment again? So what's going on? I heard a beautiful answer that can help us understand one of the deep secrets about the essence of Sukkkos. A person cannot be commanded to believe. If you're presented with evidence and it's compelling, he or she will believe. If not, they won't. That's why the first one of the 10 Commandments is not, thou shalt believe in the Lord your God. No, it's just, I am the Lord your God. God presents himself. We're supposed to examine the evidence. We may not be able to prove it, but we're supposed to realize that it's so much more likely than not that God created the world and he's still around watching it and running it, and that he wrote the Torah and we're supposed to observe the commandments. But once we realize that, and we go through that process on Rosh Hashanah of crowning God, the King of the world and our personal King, and on Yom Kippur, repenting because we feel bad because we strayed from his mandate, we can have different reactions. We could hang our heads and say, all right, what can I do? I'm not happy about all the restrictions. It's tough to be a Jew, but I guess I don't have a choice. Or we can have the exact opposite reaction, one of unbridled joy. I am so happy that God is the King and he runs the world. God up in heaven, my best friend watching over me. And I'm so happy to obey his laws because he knows what's best for me. And better than anything, I'm so happy to go out in the sukkah and look up in the sky. And during the holiday and throughout the year, put my future, put my destiny in his hands. That's what we're being judged on the Sukkkos holiday. It's not the same judgment as on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The judgment is, how are we reacting? It's a judgment on how joyful we are. And God in his infinite mercy gives us that judgment not on Tisha B'Av when we're fasting and sad. He passes that judgment on Sukkkos, a joyous holiday. He makes it so easy for us to win the day, win a good judgment. So this Thursday at sundown through Friday at sundown, last day of Sukkkos, Hoshana Rabbah, last chance for a good judgment, last chance for prayer and repentance and charity to avert a bad decree. Let's remember how happy we are. You may not have as many guests in the sukkah as usual, but just consider, not the bad things. Don't dwell on the tragic loss of life from the past year. Instead, think about the babies that were born. Think about the fact that the Kinneret in Israel, the sea, is as full as it's been, and that Israel just inked multiple agreements for peace with Arab nations. Even if you had to set up a Corona capsule for visiting parents or in-laws or other vulnerable relatives or guests like I did, just remember, God knows what he's doing and loves us more than anyone. Remember that whether something's seemingly good or seemingly bad, it's all from God. And on Sukkkos we get to sit in the shelter of his faith.